Hey guys, I am back and today's video is going to be a story time, which I've never done before, I don't think. No. But it's a story that I promised you guys for when I went to the doctor when I had mononucleosis. If you guys didn't know, mono, you can get it from pretty much anything. You don't have to get it from kissing someone, but that's like, you know, I guess how many people get it, so people think of it as a kissing thing. I didn't get it from anyone kissing me. I think I got it from just German college people. Could be been my suite mates. Could have been someone in my class, but I feel like it was my suite mates. So anyway, this is the story of how I contracted that and what happened, the whole deal. Alright, so I vividly remember I was fine the night before. Me and my roommate, we went to Subway on campus. We had a Subway and we went to go get food and we were just having fun and it was all good. And then I remember waking up and feeling like death, pretty much. I remember like I just felt so hot all over, so I had a fever, and because of my body was so hot, my body was aching really bad, and I think I had like sore throat, just like everything. So to me, I thought, well, maybe I got the flu, because what else, like mono wasn't on my radar. I didn't even know like what the symptoms of mono were. I just thought, well, maybe this is a flu. It just feels really bad. And so at that point I was in school in New York, so I couldn't like just have my mom come or my brother or anything come and just be like taking care of me. And my roommate, we were close, but she had class, and I had the guy who I was really close, who ended up being my boyfriend, but at the time he wasn't my boyfriend, he had class too. And so I remember calling my mom and she was like, well, just go lay out in the hallway and somebody will come and like help you. And I was like, that just seems stupid, Mom. Like that just seems like the worst plan ever. Plus I could barely walk because I was in so much pain. And so I would have just easily went to the health center, but it was so far away from my dorm that I wanted like my roommate to drive me or someone to drive me, because it was just, I couldn't walk all that way. Like I just knew that I couldn't. And so I was texting my roommate, and she was able to, one of her friends from high school was able to, we all went to the health center. Like they drove me there, which was really great. So I think that they drove me there or they picked me up. I can't remember, because my friend slash boyfriend, he either picked me up or dropped me off. I can't remember because I was just like so out of it. So anyway, I got to the health center, and I remember just feeling so pitiful. Like it was in the fall, I believe. Yeah, it was before winter break and all that kind of stuff. And so it was before midterms too, I remember. And I just was sitting there feeling pitiful, and then I finally got my name called and I was able to go. So then I was sitting there waiting for the doctor, like in the room, and the doctor like comes in, and he's like this Italian guy, this like big kind of Italian guy, and he's like, Becky, how you doing today? And I was just thinking to myself like, well, one, I feel like shit, and two, how did you know that I like to be called Becky? Like Becky's my nickname that my family has called me since I was a baby. And so that was kind of reassuring, even though I don't like people calling me that unless I'm close with them. But you know, I was feeling so down that was like really like warming to me to hear something from like back home. And so I was, you know, telling him like I felt bad, blah blah. And so he was basically saying like, you know, well, we're gonna test to see if you have mono or the flu. And I was like, mono? What? Like that's crazy. Like I never like thought that I could have that. I wasn't doing anything to catch it. And he was like, well, you don't do anything to catch it sometimes. He like stood this close to me. He was like, you can get it from being this close to someone. And I was like, oh. And so he was just saying like all this stuff. He was like going through a list of stuff. He's like, oh, are you sexually active? I was like, no. He was like, well, do you use condoms when you have sex? I was like, well, obviously. He was just like asking me stuff that didn't even pertain to what I was feeling like. And I was like, okay, sir, what are you doing? And then he was saying how like mono reacts to the body, and how, you know, it could have your liver, if you do like heavy physical activity like having sex, your liver could burst or something like that, or your spleen, something weird, some organ in your body would like break down. And I was just like, oh my god, you know, scaring a freshman. I was like, I don't need this, like midterms are coming up, like I'm so stressed, I have so much work to do, etc etc. And I think he could just feel me getting worse and worse as I sat there. Like I was just like, please God, I just need to feel better. And so like then he just like hugged me, and he's like, it's gonna be fine. And he hugged me in such a genuine way. Like, you know, some people will hug you and it'll be like that pat hug. That's like so fake. But no, this was like a tight, embracing hug, and I just felt so comfortable. And that was the first time I ever broke down and cried on a stranger. And like, he hugged me tighter and tighter as like the hug went on, and I just broke down more and more, and I was just like bawling my eyes out because I couldn't cry with, like, my mom wasn't there, my dad wasn't there, so I couldn't cry like I would with my parents. And so, because he's like, you know, a father type of guy, I just like let it all loose. And so he was like, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine, after I like dried my tears and stuff. But it felt really good to release all that like anguish that I was feeling about being sick and having the possibility of it being mono. So then for them to test that whether I had mono or not, the nurse had to come in and draw blood. And so I guess he felt protective over me because I was like in so much pain and just like so pitiful, so pitiful looking. Oh my God. Oh, I can just picture me now. And so the nurse was about to draw my blood, and he just like pushed her out the way. He was like, no, I'm gonna do it. And so he like held my hand while he did it, and like I was an invalid. Like, I'm like, I can take a needle. But he was so caring and nice. And that really made me feel a lot better. He was like, you know, just take aspirin. He gave me some aspirin to take, and he was like, you know, treat it like you would a cold, and just get lots of sleep and take the aspirin and all that kind of stuff. And so I did, and I like went to the little shop that we have on campus and got like, you know, sick stuff that I showed you guys, the sick stuff that I had in my bag. And literally the fever was the biggest thing that made me feel so terrible. And so once I took the aspirin and I slept, I felt so much better because my fever had broke, so that meant my body aches weren't as bad. But I did lose my hearing partially, which I don't know how that happened, and I think it was related to the mono, because after I started feeling better and was able to really like focus in class and stuff, my hearing was just like cut in half, and like I felt like I was talking loud, and I constantly had to ask my friends, like, am I loud? I can't hear myself. I can't hear myself. I can't hear the volume of whether I'm speaking loud or not. And that sucked because in my classes, like, you had to participate a lot. Like, I was in a poli-sci cluster of courses, so it was like a lot of speaking and all that kind of stuff. And I just couldn't tell if I was hearing myself. So that lasted for a good while. I don't even remember like how my hearing came back, but yeah, so that was insane. But the doctor was like really interesting, just made me feel really comfortable in a non-creepy way. So yeah, that was my story with mono, and I'm so grateful that my friends drove me there and drove me back, because I wouldn't have been able to walk there like in the pain that I felt. And if you ever get full-blown mono, you know, hey, I know your pain. I know your pain. It hurts so much. But yeah, that's my story time. So I'll have a lot more stories for you guys in the future of my life, that interesting things that have happened. And so yeah, until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye.